Call to order. Good evening. I will now call the April 14th, 2026 meeting, May 12th, 2026 meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. This meeting will be conducted pursuant to the bylaws of Cumberland County, Virginia, Board of Supervisors to ensure a fair, orderly, and safe meeting. Excerpts of the bylaws pertaining to public conduct during the meeting have been posted outside for your review. Ms. Branch, please call the roll.
Mr. Hamlet?
Here.
Mr. Newman?
Here.
Ms. Tyree?
Here.
Mr. Stimpson?
Here.
Mr. Saunders?
Here. Thank you. Now, please join me in pledge of allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And now for the invocation. Please join me. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Let our county be a representation of your love, kindness, and gentleness. Help us respond to each and every situation lovingly, because that's what you do. And with your help, our community will follow that love as well. Amen. And next is County Administrator comments, sir.
Well, we got a full agenda tonight, so in the essence of time, I just want to make a few brief comments. Just want to recognize the Employee of the Month, Michael Davis with Animal Control and all the work that he does. Is he in the audience? No, he's not here tonight. And also wanted to mention Brian Saxton has been working a lot with the state police on the communications tower back here. There's some specs that have been a little bit problematic, but Brian's working through those on that tower. And also the other project that's been a little bit complicated recently is the Route 60 sewer project. The soil kept on falling back and falling back and falling back, so it ended up eroding the road, and so we have to do some repairs to the road there on 60. They're going to cost a little bit more than we anticipated, but I think we'll be able to work that out. And those are the main things I have.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of agenda. Stephanie, I'm going to ask you for a brief comment. There's a slight change to the agenda, but yet it's still on it, so it has to do with the Dollar General.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we do have for you this evening a public hearing that was scheduled for a rezoning for Valco Investments. The applicant has requested a deferral tonight for that public hearing. At the direction of the board, the last few months, the applicant has been investigating other potential sites. They are very close to securing another location. I do have a prepared statement that I've been asked to read at the agenda item for the public hearing, but they have asked for a deferral.
Okay. Thank you, Stephanie. So again, the agenda is the same. It's still a motion, but it's a motion to defer. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimpson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you. Next is the public comment period. This is agenda items only. Only individuals who have signed up for the public comment period will be allowed to speak when called upon by the chairman. Members of the Board of Supervisors or county officials will not respond directly to questions asked during the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed through the county administrator at a later date. Please provide contact information on the sign-up sheet to all proper responses by the county administrator. First up is Betty Myers.
Good evening, my name is Betty Myers. I live at 577 Cape Run Road, East McCormick. A couple of months ago, I asked for the status of the host agreement to be addressed at these meetings. And my rumor mill has it that Greenridge has finally signed the host agreement. I went up on the website, however, a copy of that signed agreement is not there. So I would like to know if that agreement has been signed, and if so, when. And the second thing about it, who is going to sign for the county? Ms. Tyree, is because she was the supervisor at the time it was approved, or Mr. Newman because he's the chairman of the committee now. I went to the special meeting that we had concerning the courthouse. Listening to that, it's like, well, it's all starting over again. I know that in the past, you gave direction to the county administrator to come up with a list, and it wasn't done. I think that only demonstrates the need for the board to somehow set up a tickler system that you check these things off as they go through. The same with the grocery store. I attended that meeting last Monday night also. And I'm really kind of disappointed at the slowness of the board with getting that additional funding to the vendor for the grocery store, because this is one thing that people in the county has wanted, and it's been held up here because of the slowness of the board. And then the other thing that's on the agenda is the speed study for on 45. I remember several years ago that there was a study done at the intersection of 60 and 45. It's a very weird intersection, and I travel it each time I come to Cumberland. It was supposed to be looked at and revamped, and nothing's been done about it, because there's been no follow-up on that either. And that's all I have for this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Mike Parker?
My name is Mike Parker. I live in District 1. Address is 234 Duncan Store Road. I'm here to talk about the proposed Dominion Power Plant that's going right beside me and my brother's property. We just found out 3 days before April 23rd meeting with at the Ruatan meeting in Cartersville. How do we get this far with a project without the involvement of those that this project directly affects? But tonight I'm here to talk about concerns. Our first concern is the noise level. Right now I can hear turkeys gobbling, birds chirping, owls hooting, and whippoorwills at night. I've lived there my whole life, and that's what rural Cumberland County is. Now Dominion says the noise level will be 65 decibels at the property line. What is that? That's turbines running day and night. 65 decibels is not acceptable. The EPA recommends below 55 decibels. It says above the 55 decibels, it increases the risk of hypertension, stress, and sleep disruption. I don't want to hear turbines running day and night. From that drawing of where this would be at is less than 300 yards from my brother's property, and not much further than mine. Here's the drawing they had, and I marked where our residences are, if you'd like to see it. Then you got 5 years of construction with all that noise. But my next concern is the lighting from this plant. I said now I can go outside at night and look at the stars and the moon in the sky, and it's beautiful. I don't want to go outside and feel like I'm at a Friday night football game with the light shining through a little strip of woods between this plant and our property. Maybe it should be required to put up sound walls down its property line to control the sound and light pollution. That would take care of two major concerns. Other concerns are emissions from this plant. Will they be harmful over time? And what effect will it have on the water table and runoff getting into the ground? Because we're on well water. I hope DEQ will be looking at those concerns. The last concern is what effect will this have on our property value? I'm sure nobody wants to live right next to a power plant. They will have the same concerns as we do. So I do believe a sound wall would help with this too. I've called Dominion with concerns twice and left messages, left an email once. They did call me yesterday, and I talked to a rep and had a good conversation. I discussed all these same issues with her. I don't know what will come of it. So I ask you, before you rezone or give conditional permits or start this project in motion, ask yourselves what I want the answers to these questions. What I want a power plant moving in right beside me without talking to me. Should they accommodate our concerns before moving forward? Should the board hold Dominion accountable to meet those concerns? I think so, and I hope you can put yourselves in that situation before you make a decision. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mike. And Ron Tappan.
Ron Tavernier, 51 Ruby Lane, District 2. I'm going to speak in favor of Dominion. If the decibel level of 65 at Dominion is not acceptable to people, why is it acceptable to the people in District 2 by the landfill? The landfill is going to be a longer-term construction, and it's going to be continuous noise for many years, 30 at the minimum, they say. It's not going to be 30 years of noise. 65 decibels is acceptable. It's not bad. I worked water plants all my life. 85 decibels in an engine room is normal. That's when you have to start wearing single ear protection. 105, you have to wear double ear protection. 65 is basic normal right here on the side of the road. So I'm in favor of the power plant. I think it's a good thing for the county. Lighting, I'm sure they're going to use some good lighting, just like the landfill is. They're not going to block it out so you can't see Orion and all the other planets, solar systems. It's going to happen. And I was going to speak against Delco, I'm glad that went to the side. Again, I want to bring up that the traffic problems around here are ridiculous. When I was on the Board of Supervisors, it was determined that the state was going to redesign, rebuild the intersection of 45 and 60. It has not happened. But now we're talking about traffic studies on a section of road because they're adding a mini golf course that might see 10, 12 cars a day. That's a little crazy. We're getting excessive on the minor stuff and overlooking the major stuff. So we need to get back to reality and look at things that are most important, most serious, and not that little stuff that, we've tolerated forever. That's pretty much what I got at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. And next item on the agenda is consent agenda.
Members of the board, on your consent agenda, you have the approval of your bills as well as your approval of your minutes from your April 14th, your April 21st, and both of your May 5th meetings.
Give the board just a few minutes to review, please. Any question about board members for Ms. Cruz or Ms. Branch? We all good? Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
This is consent agenda.
Yes, consent.
So, yeah. Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you. Next are the state and local departments providing reports, starting with Cumberland County Public Schools. Dr. Shores.
Good evening. So I just wanted to talk about some partnerships that we're developing in the county. We're really excited to partner with Camp Parsons on several things. They're going to allow us to hold our administrative retreat there this summer. In addition, they've donated some food items to our students who are in need, and they donated a climbing tower for our JRTC program. And so that's a real strong partnership, not just because they're doing it for us, but we'll also be sending students out there to do some projects for them. And we welcome those opportunities. Another exciting partnership is with the other Region 8 school systems. We are going to bring in a masonry program that will be housed at Prince Edward High School, but we should be able to get at least 3 students in there next year, so we're going to try to continue to grow those trades. Along with that, we are getting students committed for the automotive program. at SVCC along with the forestry program and the Teachers Academy, which will allow students to graduate with career certifications. So we're excited about that. Fish and Pig also hosted a fundraiser for us. Our elementary school had a fundraiser there, and they've done some other fundraisers and have raised $10,000 so far for their playground equipment that they're looking for, and that culminated with a Kiss the Pig event yesterday at the elementary school. The students were really excited about that. Me, not so much. And our seniors have been really busy. They had a senior event 2 weeks ago. The National Guard brought in some equipment for them to have kind of a fun day after their signing day. We celebrated students that have signed with colleges, with the military and other careers after they graduate. So that was a great event. And on May 4th, we had the Senior Awards Night where several students received scholarships from the Cumberland Foundation. We also have baccalaureate tomorrow evening at the high school. That begins at 5:30. Senior Walk is on the 14th, which is where the seniors go down to the elementary school, walk the halls, and kind of inspire, our elementary students to be thinking ahead. And the elementary students get to see their cousins, their brothers, their sisters walking the halls, and it's pretty exciting for them as well. We are having graduation on Friday. Please come to that if you're able. If you let me know via email or a phone call, I will make sure that we reserve a spot for you there and make sure there's a ticket for you at the door. We also want to thank Spruceberry Farms, Kevin Engel and Herf Jones. We had a staff appreciation event last Wednesday, and Spruceberry allowed us to host it there. They served it. The food was amazing, I know. Kevin Engel DJ'd that event for us pro bono. He said, the schools do a lot for the community. He wanted to give back. Herf Jones donated and supported some of our awards for our service winners, the people that had 20 plus years of service. They donated that, and we had one of our employees who made the awards for the rest of them. So it cost us the materials, and she did all of the labor on that. But it was a great event. The adults got to be adults for an evening, and it's a great location. So we're really thankful for that partnership as well. And thank you for your time. I hope you come out to graduation.
Thank you, Ms. Next, Brian Locker, VDOT. Welcome, sir.
All right, good evening, Chairman, members of the Board of Administration, Brian Locker, Assistant Resident Engineer for VDOT Formal Residency. I'm here to present the report for the month of April into May. There's the budget, and I'll go to the graphic. There you go. So we're trending again below the spend line, which is typical. Our budget year again ends June 30th, and then we'll go into the next fiscal year. So we are on target to be within the budget. Again, this is indicative of the maintenance budget only, not the snow money. This slide here is a continued update, or the same update from the last meeting, where there was only one plant mix project in the Cumberland County upcoming this paving season, no surface treatment or latex, and that is anticipated to start sometime in August. General maintenance items for this past month, about 690 Columbia Road. There was they're doing patching over there. Mowing started on the secondaries and is ongoing. Primaries will start in June. Secondary 6-year plan, again, I'll stick around for that, and that's later on your agenda. The Route 60 sewer project, as Mr. Scudder mentioned, we're working with Brian Saxon and Public Works on addressing the failure, not failures, it's there was some deterioration in the main line, so we're working to get that corrected with the county. Route 728 Commerce Road over here, we're also working with Public Works on accepting, there's a short piece from the end of state maintenance to the end of the existing pavement. We're looking to bring that into the state system as well. That is all I have for my report this month. Any questions for me at this time?
Board members, any questions? Mr. Saunders? Mr. Hamlin? Good. Thank you, Brian. Next is the finance report. Ms. Cruz?
Good evening, members of the board. Starting on page 26 through 35 of the board packet, you'll find the monthly budget report. This is for the month of April. That's for your information, but if you have any questions, I can take them now or at a later time.
I'm curious about the E911 budget.
So the grant funding that was procured by the IT department and Darren Curley, that equipment has been purchased and it has been paid for, so now we're submitting for the grant reimbursement. So once we get that funding back, then those lines will be
It's
restored.
just timing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Ms. Cruz on the monthly budget report? Okay, let's move on to appropriation request.
I do have one appropriation request, and that starts on page 36 of your board packet. Cumberland County Public Schools has requested the board to appropriate grant funds awarded to the school system in totaling $245,494.40. This is the total for 3 separate grants: the 2026 Summer Regional Governor School Grant in the amount of $15,494.40, the Gear Up Longwood Grant in the amount of $30,000, and the School Construction Assistance Program Grant in the amount of $200,000. And this does not require an additional local funding.
Any other questions on the county public schools? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye. Thank you. Next, planning and zoning, that's Stephanie. She's back.
Good evening again, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, county staff, Stephanie Johnson, the planning director, zoning administrator. First item I have for you under my agenda item here this evening is the planning project update for the month of April. You'll find those in your board packet on pages 43 through 47. For the month of April, we had 1 commercial accessory permit, 13 residential primary, 19 residential accessory, and 3 farm structure permits that were approved. 1 subdivision that was approved, and we have 49 that are pending. There were 4 surveyed existing parcels that were approved, and there are 39 that are still pending. The development projects, we still have an application for a conditional use permit for Kenny's Place, although again, I do believe that that will be withdrawn here in the next few months. The CUP 2502 for Seventh-day Adventist Church, that has been set for public hearing with the Planning Commission, and that meeting will take place this coming Monday. CUP 2504 for Camp Parsons, that application is still pending. They do have a completed application, but they're still working with VDOT and the Health Department to see what the requirements will be for the potential for a driveway entrance upgrade, and whether or not that's going to be financially feasible for them with the additional acreage that they plan to add. CUP 2505, Osborne Carter, that will be on your, or is on your agenda this evening for public hearing. CUP 2601 for Mega Mini Golf, that also is on the Planning Commission's agenda for next Monday for public hearing. We have a new conditional use permit 26-02 for Firefly Point Event Facility. This will be an event facility where they plan to host small weddings and events off of Columbia Road, private road, which is Firefly Point off of Columbia, up near the Cops Creek Reservoir. Rezoning 24-02, which is the Cumberland Industrial Park, rezoning from M1 to M2. That is something that staff has recommended for the last few years. When former county administrator, Mr. Stamy, was here, that is something that we started, but again, that is owned by the EDA, so that is something that they have to initiate, so that is still pending as well. And then, of course, finally, the rezoning application for Valco Investments. So that's what I have for pending development projects. And then on the last page, which is page 47, you'll see the commercial ENS permits. We do still have active the 2 solar facilities that are on Route 45 South, Cumberland Road. Those are very close to completion, construction-wise. ENS, they are at they're at almost final stabilization. They do have temp stabilization site-wide. They do have to reseed to gain that final stabilization. Hopefully the rain that we've had recently and forthcoming will help that seed germinate and grow. Schaefer Landis Farm, that is for a poultry litter shed. Next week I will go out and do site visits again, and I have a feeling that that will be my last inspection for that site, so that will be coming off of the rotation. The Swery Farm on Bell Road, that is for a new poultry facility. That in the last few weeks they've started clearing the land, but they are rolling on that, so I'm thinking maybe in the next month or 2 they should be finished with that project as well. And lastly, we have the Amtill Wetland Mitigation Project. This is a wetland restoration project of about 64 acres that's owned by Johnny Oswald along the James River. And that is mostly cleared, and they are starting the temp stabilization currently. We also issued 13 residential erosion and sediment control permits for the month of April. And then at the very bottom of page 47, you'll see the pending or potential code amendments that have not changed over the last few months. So that is what I have for you for the planning project updates, if anybody has any questions.
Any update on the 2 solar sites that are up in District 1?
So there are a few. There are 4 total that are up in District 1.
So one is called Cumberland, and the other one is down
Boston
by
Hill.
Tricycle Lane.
So both of those sites are still pending. I believe they are, they still need to get site plan review before they can start clearing land. So they are still at state level for permits, I believe. They are finalizing, I think, stormwater permitting, and then we'll move on to the site plan, and then they'll start their ENS permitting process.
Both of those are
Yes, those are both Sun-Tri projects.
so basically they're finishing up permitting and then ready for building permit after that.
Once they finish the state permitting, then they can do their finalized site plan. So they submitted a preliminary with the conditional use permit application. But once the state finalizes their permits, that will determine what exactly can go where on the property. So that will affect the site plan. So the final site plan will likely be a little bit different than what was submitted with the conditional use permit. So the final site plan has to be approved before they can start clearing land and start construction. So once they have the land cleared, they have to have, there's a few other items that they will need before they can even apply for any building permits.
So several months back, they forecasted 3rd quarter. Do you think that's still feasible?
I don't think so. I think it's hopeful, but I honestly don't see that happening, not for building permits.
We won't hold to it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Any questions, Stephanie, on that part of her update? Okay. And now you've got a request for a speed study?
Yes, sir. So at the April 20th Planning Commission meeting, it was discussed that the existing and future developments along a section of Route 45 South Cumberland Road from the intersection of 631 Davenport to the 6045 intersection. Commissioner Allen stated that within that area, there's already 2 community centers, 1 church, 23 residential homes, an agricultural business, an animal hospital, a convenience store, an auto body repair shop, a new mini golf business, and a place of worship that is in the planning stages. Cumberland Road through this area is curvy and the sight distance is not great, and the speed limit is currently 55 miles an hour. He inquired if the commission would be agreeable to request a traffic study in this area to determine if that speed limit could be lowered from Davenport Road to its intersection with Anderson Highway. On a motion by Commissioner Allen and seconded by Commissioner Seal, the commission directed staff to request a speed study for this section of Route 45 South from 631 Davenport to its intersection of Anderson Highway to the board, with the intention of reducing the speed limit from 55 miles per hour. I think the intention is to at least have it reduced to 45 miles per hour. But again, that's just a request that they have to have the board request VDOT to look into it and conduct a traffic study to see what can be done in that general area.
Okay. Questions by board members? We have Brian Locker still here. Any questions for him regarding the speed study?
Consider initiated.
Okay. All right, with that, do we have a motion to approve the speed study?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Old business. Comments, grocery store. Board members have received an update from Mrs. Cruz.
I have a memo that we put together kind of as an update, if you'd like me to read it, read it to the board. Background, at the Board of Supervisors meeting on December 22nd, 2025, County Administrator Derek Stamey requested the board to consider an appropriation to the Economic Development Authority in the amount of $300,000. The appropriation would provide the funding component for the performance agreement between the EDA and Cumberland, Virginia Grocery LLC. At that meeting, Supervisor Hamlet stated his concerns with the company's business plan. Supervisor Tyree stated her concerns with delaying the process of the grocery store if the funds were not appropriated. Subsequently, she made a motion that the board appropriate to the EDA $150,000 of the $300,000 requested. Later, the remainder of the funds could be requested once the company had an opportunity to address the board's concerns. The motion was passed unanimously and the board approved $150,000 of that appropriation. On May 5th, the Board of Supervisors and the EDA held a joint workshop. As part of the agenda, the business owners, Travis Harris and Michael Gaines, attended the workshop to address any questions the board or authority members had in regards to the business, the funding, or its operations. Furthermore, Mr. Harris has requested the remaining $150,000. Therefore, County Administration has placed the appropriation request on tonight's agenda for the board's consideration. Thank you, Ms. Cruz, for all the work you've done on this.
Any questions for Mrs. Cruz?
And you have all of the documentation you needed.
Yes.
That was good information you provided, thank you. So with that, do we have a motion to approve the funding?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Next on the agenda, we have a resolution reaffirming the Second Amendment rights. Open the floor for comments first. I think Second Amendment is certainly one of many amendments that's important, but it's also important even at a family level and how we handle ourselves within the county itself. Just for full discovery here, I mean, I have multiple permits, but I'm also an NRA range instructor. I got that instructor background so I can work with Boy Scouts at summer camp. So, while many of you get to take vacation and sleep in posh motel rooms, I slept on the ground in a tent, running the rifle range, because I thought that was important. And probably taught, I don't know, hundreds of scouts. But all my family shoots. And some have permits, but some just enjoy sport shooting. For full disclosure, my grandkids shoot. All right, I'm not a bad grandfather. They shoot BB guns when they're able. But it's something that we value as a family. It's something that we do as a family, and we think it's important. So with that, I kind of wanted to paint that picture. And sometimes we miss part of this as to what our life here is in America, and while the Second Amendment even exists. With that, I'd like to turn it over to the board members. Mr. Hamlin, I assume you want to read it in, because the date has changed on the Second Amendment that you pinned. Any board members to comment?
I appreciate you letting me read it.
Yeah,
Prior to that, I would like to say a couple things, and thank you for those comments, John, but I do believe that the Second Amendment is uniquely American, and I think our founders had the wherewithal to know that in order to prevent a tyrannical government, the people had the right to be armed to prevent it. And if you look over our history, we've avoided being invaded by foreign countries because they knew there'd be a rifle behind every blade of grass. I think in a county like Cumberland County, I dare say there might be more guns in this county than there are residents, because I know multiple residents have multiple. But you mentioned grandkids. I will tell you, my 13-year-old son is a marksman. And one of the things that is our responsibility to maintain that Second Amendment, which, by the way, the Second Amendment just guarantees that government can take a naturally God-given right away from us. It doesn't grant us the right. But in order to preserve and maintain that right not being taken from us, I think it's imperative on gun owners to be responsible, but to teach our kids at an early age responsible firearm safety and marksmanship. But just to piggyback on what you said. But if you would like, I can read it now.
Sure.
All right. So this was proposed at our February meeting, and of course the board decided to table it until today's meeting. But this resolution renewing and reaffirming steadfast support for Second Amendment rights, May 12, 2026. Whereas the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States declares the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and whereas Article 1, Section 13 of the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia provides that the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, and whereas the members of the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors have sworn an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And whereas on or about December 10th, 2019, the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors adopted a resolution declaring Cumberland County a sanctuary county for Second Amendment rights. And whereas the most recent session of the Virginia General Assembly passed legislation imposing additional restrictions upon the lawful ownership, transfer, carrying, storage, manufacture, or use of firearms, firearm accessories, components, and ammunition by law-abiding citizens. And whereas the Supreme Court of the United States in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association, Inc. versus Bruin, 597 U.S. 1, 2022, held that government restrictions on the right to keep and bear arms are unconstitutional unless they are consistent with the nation's historical tradition of firearm regulation, and rejected interest balancing or means-end scrutiny as incompatible with the Second Amendment. And whereas the Bruin decision reaffirmed that the Second Amendment protects the right of ordinary, law-abiding citizens to possess and carry arms in common use for lawful purposes, that modern firearm regulations lacking historical analogs are presumptively unconstitutional, and that through the 14th Amendment, these constitutional protections fully apply to the states and prohibit state and local governments from infringing upon this fundamental right. And whereas the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors recognizes that the lawful ownership and responsible use of firearms by citizens is a fundamental right that predates the Constitution and remains essential to individual liberty, personal security, and the preservation of a free society. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors hereby renews, reaffirms, and declares its steadfast support for the Second Amendment to the United States Constitution in Article 1, Section 13 of the Constitution of Virginia. And be it further resolved that Cumberland County reaffirms its designation of a sanctuary county for Second Amendment rights and its opposition to any law, rule, or regulation that infringes upon the constitutional rights of law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms. And be it further resolved that the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors formally expresses its opposition to legislation passed during the recent session of the Virginia General Assembly that would impose firearm bans, magazine capacity limits, or other restrictions inconsistent with the historical tradition of firearm regulation as articulated by the Supreme Court of the United States in New York State Rifle and Pistol Association versus Bruin. And be it further resolved that no county funds, personnel, or resources shall be knowingly appropriated or utilized to enforce any law or regulation that is determined to be unconstitutional under the Second Amendment to the Constitution of the United States or Article 1, Section 13 of the Constitution of Virginia, except where otherwise required by lawful court order. And be it further resolved that the Cumberland County Board of Supervisors urges the governor and the members of the General Assembly to respect their constitutional obligations and refrain from acting legislation that conflicts with the rights secured by the Second Amendment and reaffirmed by the Supreme Court of the United States. And be it further resolved that this resolution shall take effect immediately upon adoption.
Is that your motion?
So I'd like to make a motion that we adopt that resolution, Mr. Chair.
I would like to, if I'm permitted, to propose a substitute motion to reaffirm the December 10th, 2019 resolution as previously stated. I think we might have put a little spin on the original, and the original is true to the cause.
Do we have a second to this?
To what? Which one? All of
To the substitute motion goes first.
Second. Mr. Hamlet?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye. On to new business, Mr. Scudder, is this you with the courthouse project?
That is me. So over the last couple of months, and since I've been here, you have been very active in discussions about the courthouse. And certainly with the judge has certainly been active in his staff. And pretty much I've been in a lot of discussions with stakeholders about what they feel they see as the need for a new courthouse based on new safety standards. And one of the observations in researching this situation that really is apparent to me is that you're not alone. There are about 12 jurisdictions in Virginia that, if not currently, in recent years, are doing the same thing because of new safety standards involving courthouses. So we took it upon ourselves to look at about 10 projects that are going on in Virginia in recent years. Some of you are familiar with some of those projects that are going around in the state. And the thing that was apparent in a lot of the discussions that I was involved with is that a vast majority of those projects were more traditional projects that centered around design, bid, build. Subsequent to that, you had received an unsolicited PPEA from a firm that kind of came in, I think the day I showed up. And I think that there was a little bit of disconnect and certainly some expectations that didn't quite meet some of the stakeholders when they reviewed those proposals. And even the judge commented on that pretty straightforwardly with some of that information I shared with you. And then we had a work session very recently where we had your representative, Mr. Joe Miller from HPA, who you engaged in 2023 to do a very extensive needs assessment on their courthouse. And they did a very thorough job. They used a nationally recognized security firm called Fentress that looked at all the safety needs, separation between the court people, the public, the judges, and pretty much he went through a very detailed report with you all. The second part of that workshop was to talk about your options. What are your options going forward? What are your thoughts? What have the stakeholders expressed throughout this process? Not only in the couple of months that I've been here, but over the previous years that, kind of started back in 22, 23 when you started that process. So there's been a lot of discussion about going forward and what your options are. And there's really been a lot of research. And based on the discussions that we've had so far, you feel like, and you addressed this with Mr. Stamey when he was here, that you wanted to go forward with the courthouse project, which is why you did the needs assessment. And really, in looking at the state, there was a very well put together memo that your county attorney put together about, what's going on with judges and courthouses in Virginia and what your options are. And I think he outlined it very well, what your options are, which pretty much you have to do something. And you feel that way. So in looking at 8 RFPs for professional services, and talking to some colleagues in my seat that are dealing with these currently, I drafted the memo that's before you. I mean the RFP that you have in your packet. And what I think is appropriate at this time is to give me the go-ahead to go forward with that RFP and select a firm to start working with your stakeholders and a committee, not a big committee, but a committee of stakeholders. I think a member of the board, maybe a member of the planning commission or the EDA, maybe a member of the public, and have that courthouse planning committee work with you on selection and moving forward on an appropriate firm to design your courthouse. So that's what's in your packet moving forward.
And this is going to be your the motion that you're requesting?
Yes.
So the one question I have for fellow board members is, did we approve to move forward with design in November 25, October 25, something like that? So is this to reaffirm to move forward, or is this to to affirm really the design bid build process?
Pretty much the going forward with the RFP on the design bid build process,
Okay.
which is pretty much centered around the RFP that's been drafted based on the 10 that we looked at.
So, and I'm not speaking for all board members, just myself here. Candidly, design bid build will be more expensive and take longer. However, you know what you're getting at the end of the process. So pretty much when the RFPs come in, that's what you're gonna get. So I just want everyone to know what the kind of pros and cons here. Any of the, there's design build, there's a bunch of different ways of moving forward with this, Jay. So design build being another one, PPEA, all these just tools in the toolbox of how to proceed. But what you're really asking us to proceed with design bid build.
Yeah, pretty much the RFP that I drafted.
Okay.
And and if a proposal comes in to you under another proposal, I guess the committee could hear it.
Right. All right, so with that, any further questions from board members? No.
I'll just like to point out that the meeting that, Mr. Chair, that you mentioned, I believe was February of 25. I believe there were 3 options presented. I believe it was actually option A, option B, option C. And I'm not going to repeat or replay that meeting, but I believe that the board passed what was to proceed with exploring option A. It didn't authorize any kind of funds to be expended on an architecture firm, but it was to explore what was then presented as the lowest option of $37 million or so, but it was to explore that option. I believe that's the vote we were referencing. So I don't know I haven't seen anything since that February meeting about what kind of exploring has been done. So I don't know, if Mr. Scudder, if you have any of that information. But I mean, it's like right now it seems like we went from we're going to explore this option, no exploring was done, and now we're just going to issue an RFP to solicit bids. Is that a fair take on that?
Well, again, the motion is to move forward with an RFP.
Yes, to move forward with an RFP.
And there is, depending on what the motion is, there is no motion to fund this, just to move forward with an RFP. Design bid build. It's a direction. I think they're all good directions, but it's a direction. So as long as it meets the requirements that from the stakeholders and the judge, they all understand what we're doing here.
Yeah, we gotta look at it from a cost perspective.
You won't know the cost until they respond to the RFP and we get those figures on the design side.
It's the only way to move forward is to get designs and costs.
Okay? All right, so do we have a motion?
And they can decide if
The motion
they
is-
want, if they want.
I'm going to repeat it again. The motion is to move forward with an RFP for the courthouse building using the approach design bid build. This is not for funding. And after the RFP comes out, we'll have 8, 10, maybe more responses to it, and we'll be able to look at those, determine what the cost would be to design based on the RFPs. So that is the motion. Do I have a second?
Who made the motion?
I just made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion? I second.
It's a long one, but I made the motion.
Mr. Slaughter, you said you second?
I second.
Mr. Hamlin?
No.
Mr. Newman?
Yes.
Ms. Tyree?
Yes.
Mr. Stinson?
Yes.
Mr. Saunders?
Yes.
Thank you. And next up, Renewed Energy. Wow.
Well, let me see. Yeah. She had a presentation on close your microphone, you can get that.
Okay.
Is that what you want?
Sure.
Whatever they would want to go get.
Yeah. So we'll come back to this. Kipper, on the next item, under public hearings, this is where we were gonna form a hearing about Valco investments, and now there's a change in status. Do we still have to open as a public hearing, or can we simply, it's on the agenda as a motion item?
Correct, and I believe Ms. Johnson has a statement to read, but the board could make a motion to table it, and table it not open as a public hearing.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, please proceed.
Good evening again. As we stated earlier, I do have a prepared statement that was submitted by the applicant, Redson Companies for REZ 2501 for Valco Investments. Following the board's guidance from multiple previous meetings, we spent the last several months investigating other potential sites on Route 60 that the board anticipated would be better locations regarding traffic and safety. I am pleased to report that we have come to terms with a property owner at the intersection up the road from our initial site on Blenheim Road. We currently have a handshake deal and are finalizing a contract agreement. My land acquisition team informs me this should occur within the next day or two. As developers, our next step is to submit this new site to our client, Dollar General, for their approval. As a result, we are requesting that our current application be tabled at tonight's board meeting. Our goal is to submit this new site to our client for their approval. After that, we intend to submit an entirely new application for the alternative site to begin the rezoning process for that parcel. Please confirm that the council agrees to table our application until we complete the site switch as previously instructed. At the very least, we request that this rationale and email for tabling be read at the meeting so that all board members understand that we are exhausting every effort to develop a site location that the board and the county would feel would be a better fit. Thank you for your time and consideration of this request. My goal is to have the client approval for the alternative site by the next board meeting. Upon client approval, we will withdraw our current application and submit a new application for the alternative site. So this would require a motion to defer from the board.
So, and I just want to make sure that the process, as you just stated, this will go away. We will table it tonight, but it will go away,
Yes.
and there will be a new.
A completely new application for a different parcel. They will have to go through the entire process all over again for a new application.
Okay.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to table? Res 2501, Valco Investments, LLC.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe it needs to be clarified if it's going to be tabled indefinitely or tabled to a specific meeting. So the motion will need to either be tabled to such and such meeting or indefinitely.
But if we just table indefinitely?
Yeah, this particular one, all over.
Okay. Okay, you can go ahead and make the motion.
I make the motion that we table it indefinitely.
Yeah. I'll second it.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Spencer?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye. Okay. We're
Is that
done.
it for now? Do you want to go back to?
Go ahead.
She's coming back.
So let's go on to the next one.
To the next public hearing?
Yes.
So we have Cup 2505,
Yes, sir.
Danny Carter.
All right.
Um,
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open the
Yes,
public hearing. Thank you.
yes, sir.
Our next item on the agenda is a public hearing for Cup 2505, Dabney Carter. And Ms. Johnson, if you would please proceed with the overview.
Yes, sir, thank you. We have a conditional use permit application for lot, to reduce setbacks and address lot issues. It's for tax map number 99A22. It's a half-acre parcel at 717 Cooks Road. It's zone A2, and the existing land use is residential. The owners have an existing 1968 10 by 18 manufactured home on the property that has been there for many years. The structure is no longer safe and suitable for the occupants. The applicant proposes to replace the existing structure with a 14 by 60 manufactured home with 2 4 by 6 decks in the same location as the existing home in order to utilize the existing well and septic. The new structure will not meet the side setbacks in this location. Staff is recommending reduced side setbacks for this parcel than what is outlined in the ordinance in order to utilize that existing same location. Also, since the parcel is less than an acre, staff is currently unable to approve the zoning permit for the replacement dwelling. Zoning ordinance section 74-786B states that pre-existing non-conforming lots that fail to meet the width, area, setback, or frontage requirements may apply for a conditional use permit to address any lot deficiencies. And that's what this application intends to do. This first map is an aerial map showing the outlined parcel in purple. The current survey for the property is from April 9th of 1974. It was originally an acre tract that was split into two. A parcel on the left with the red star is the tract that we're discussing this evening. Here we have a comprehensive plan map. The second map here shows the Stoddard Rural Crossroads. This property is located just west, just outside of the Stoddard Rural Crossroads. For planning implications, the consistency with the comp plan, to ensure safety, opportunity, and prosperity for all residents while respecting and preserving the rural, historical, and agricultural heritage of the county. This proposal will allow the continued use of the property in a way that's consistent with surrounding development and will ensure the safety of the residents, which is most paramount. Here we have the vicinity map showing the entire county. There's a little red star on the bottom right-hand side that indicates where this property is located. We have the zoning map showing that it is zoned A2 agricultural. And for consistency with the zoning ordinance, again, we have that section 74-786 that states that those parcels that are existing non-conforming that fail to meet the area, width, or setbacks can apply for a CUP, and the fee for the CUP has been waived. That is permitted in the code section. So staff believes that the requested action is consistent with the recommendations of the comp plan and the zoning ordinance. Here we have the site plan. This is for the current dwelling that's there. It's approximately 130 feet from Cook Road, 14 feet from the left property line, 14 feet from the left, 43 from the right, and 70 feet from the rear. So staff is requesting proposed setbacks be 128 foot from Cook Road, 14 feet from the left, 31 from the right, and 68 from the rear. Now, with this being off of Cooks Road and zoned A2, the minimum setbacks would be 75 feet from the center line of the road, which this property meets, 25 feet from the side property lines. So really, the left side is what we're adjusting here for them. And then 35 feet from the back. So proposed conditions for this CUP, that the lot shall not be subdivided any further than it exists at this time, which is half an acre, and that the setback should be 75 feet from the center line of Cooks Road, which is the current requirement, 35 in the rear. On the west side, I'm going to maintain the 14 feet, which is what is there currently, and then I'm requesting a reduced setback on the east side to 20 feet. That will allow not only the proposed dwelling, but if, God forbid, if something were to happen to this proposed dwelling that they're putting in there now, that will allow them to replace that dwelling in the future without having to come back to the county for any additional provisions, applications, CUPs, that sort of thing. The last condition that I'm proposing is that it be granted indefinitely. However, if the underlying zoning is changed in the future to allow the same, similar, or greater development on the parcel than what is granted by the CUP, then the CUP shall be rescinded at the initiation of the zoning administrator and will not require any further action by the commission or the board of supervisors. So if for some reason that area of Cooks Road is changed, the zoning laws change where it can be developed to half-acre lots, or the setbacks are reduced to where it can meet what is proposed in the CUP, then the CUP would go away because then the lot would meet the requirements at that time. So that wouldn't require any future action from the commission or the board of supervisors. The zoning administrator at the time can actually handle that administratively. Notice of the hearing was published in the Farmville Herald on April 29th and May 6th. Adjoining property owners were sent notice on April 15th. Notice was posted on the county's webpage and on the bulletin boards on April 15th. The Planning Commission held their public hearing on March 16th and sends this application to the board with unanimous recommendation of approval. And as of tonight, we have received no public comment for or against this application. And that's all I have for you this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have.
Thank you. This time we welcome the public hearing. Please remember that only residents of Cumberland County or individuals owning real property in Cumberland are permitted to speak during public hearings and public comment. And we have nobody signed up to speak. So if no other citizens signed up, we will now close the public hearing and we will open the floor for board member discussion. This is District 5, 4? 4. Okay, so Paul, you get to go first.
Oh, no,
Any comments?
Hold on 1 second. I thought my name was on the list. Just one moment, please. Who's in charge of the list? My name's not on there?
No, sir.
On the backside?
No, sir.
Okay, sorry.
So you don't have any comments or questions?
Oh, no, I was part of the process and saw the planning commission comments on it.
Okay. Any other questions by any of the board members? All right, so do we have a motion to approve cut 2505, Dabney Carter as presented?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlet?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stimson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Going to backtrack on the agenda to Dominion Energy. Mr. Ray. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Robert Hare. I'm a manager in our generation development group. We're responsible for all of Dominion's new natural gas development, which brings us here today. We'll turn it over to Sarah and Alex to walk through a presentation. Rafi and myself are here for the questions. This is a project update, simply for information. We're sitting here for Q&A. And there's 2 points I want to make before we go on this. One is we're looking for a partner. You know, we're a long-time investment in this community, and we want to treat this as a partnership. And the other one is this is the initiation of a process. This is the first of many gates. One gate is at the county, one is at the state level. There's several with the Department of Environmental Quality, all of which have public processes and open forums. Encourage everyone to attend, and appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, and hopefully we can answer your questions. If not, we'll certainly take them and get back with you. So thank you for your time tonight. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Got some time, great job, thank you. Apologies for the technical difficulties, but my name is Alex Rendon, I'm an External Affairs Manager with Dominion Energy. It's a pleasure to be with you all here tonight. Just before we begin, just wanted to say we're enthused to be beginning this process with you. As Robert said, this is going to be a partnership, and we look forward to engaging with each of you, with the residents and citizens here in Cumberland County on this project. Go to the next slide. I have a thank you. Just to give you a picture a little bit, this data that you're looking at is 2024 data by zip code, so it gives you a little bit of a general idea of our presence here in the region, if not precisely zoned around Cumberland County. But as you can see, we've got about 2,500 residential customers and 364 business and government customers here. And so we're an integral part of this community. 195 constituents, that's employees, retirees, shareholders here in the district. 515 county participants in regulated energy conservation programs. We talk about demand management, making sure that folks' energy use is lowered. And 295 miles of power distribution and transmission, $5,000 in charitable contributions, and $942,000 in taxes paid on items like transmission infrastructure, other distribution infrastructure, things of that nature. And before we go too far forward, thank you, we're going to zoom out a little bit before we talk about the generation project that we're proposing here in Cumberland County. We want to give you members of the board and members of the public an idea of how the grid works and what exactly we're proposing and how that energy will end up impacting our customers and providing reliable energy. Power is generated at generation plants, whether that is a traditional plant like we're talking about natural gas, solar, wind, nuclear. There are a variety of generation resources that put electrons onto the grid. And when we talk about the grid, what we're talking about is the transmission system. That's the tall steel structures and wires that transmit electricity over long distances, and the distribution systems, which are the shorter poles and wires that connect to people's homes and commercial businesses. So when we build a generation plant that interconnects to the grid, we say that it's power that benefits all of Dominion's customers. The power that's generated at the facility, it goes onto the transmission system, it goes to a substation where it's stepped down to a level that can be accepted by homes and businesses, and then again, it's transmitted by the poles and wires to folks' homes and businesses. So we realize we live and breathe power generation and transmission every day. It may not be the bailiwick of the everyday person who doesn't have to think about their power except for when they flip the lights on. And our job really at the end of the day is to make sure that when you do that, it's there reliably for you. You don't have to think about it. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague Sarah Marshall to continue the presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, board members, Cumberland residents. Happy to be here with you all tonight to talk about the Cumberland Energy Center. Thank you. And what we're looking to do, and as Alex mentioned, this is part of a whole grid project where what we're seeing is really unprecedented load demand growth from our customers, both large and small. And really the challenge that we're faced with and the reason for this project in large part is we have to double the current generation that we have in the next couple years to meet that demand of our customers. So that's really kind of the main reason we're here tonight talking with you all. But I want to talk a little bit more about why we're here in Cumberland versus somewhere else. And a large part of that comes from our work that we've done currently. We are at the early stages of developing this project, but that doesn't mean a lot of work hasn't been done. Before coming today, we've looked at various sites across our footprint, so here in Virginia and otherwise, to find a location that fits for a power generation station, regardless of type. We've looked at various sites, and then we look at where are those sites located in an area to minimize the greatest impact to all. And that kind of brought us here to Cumberland County. So what we're proposing is what we call a 2-on-1 or two 2-on-1 combined cycle power stations. That will provide enough power, about 3 gigawatts, which is about 3,000 megawatts, to power up to 750,000 homes. We're looking at a combined cycle for a main reason of providing baseload power that can meet the demands of our customers. So the way we look at it is baseload power provides the needs of our customers every day, but the flexibility of a combined cycle where you're able to create power at different load levels helps meet the demand of our customers. So we're able to balance both, as well as help it integrate with other types of generation sources. So this project will be able to do that. A 2-on-1 for background is a combination of both a combustion turbine, which primarily uses natural gas as the fuel source, and then a steam turbine, which takes the excess heat and gas produced by the combustion turbine to create more efficient power overall. We're looking to build this project, if approved, off of Duncan Store Road in District 1, on about 150 acres of project property, meaning kind of in the fence line or with power station equipment, whatnot. But on a total of about 972 acres. And that seems like a big delta, and it is. But we look for that because that delta tends to be, and you'll see it a little bit on the next slide, buffer, natural vegetation buffer, which helps mitigate noise and sound, or noise and visual concerns. It also helps to make sure that, the project is not as apparent to the community. It helps kind of tuck it away. So here what you're looking at is a high-level rendering of the project. This is subject to change, as with most of the information, but really this kind of shows you what I just talked about. So as you can see on one picture, we have the sets of 2 combustion turbines with 1 steam turbine building. We have the air-cooled condensers, which are important for a project like this because they help minimize the water use that's needed. We are planning to have fuel oil as a backup fuel source to make sure that we can run this project when needed without any concerns. And then on the other side, you will see, as Alex was mentioning, some of the addition or the extra equipment that we'll need, such as the gen-tie line to tie this generation source into the transmission so that we can provide the power out to our customers. And you'll also see one here where we currently propose the main entrance. I do want to note with that we have had a community meeting in late April. This main entrance has come up as a potential concern, so we are looking, we took that feedback back and we are looking at addressing, is there a way to shift it a little bit one way or another to help mitigate those concerns. As with any construction project, whether it's a home or a power station, there are impacts, whether perceived or real. And right now, we're really focused on how can we minimize those impacts to the greatest extent possible. And this slide kind of really talks about some of the stuff we're focused on in the development stage currently. That includes making sure that we're putting best available technology and practices into our emissions control to make sure that ultimately this project will be safe and protective for both the public and the environment. We want to make sure that this project is not heard or is heard as little as possible. So we're making sure that we're looking at ways that we can minimize that noise impact, especially to our closest neighbors. One way is through that natural buffer, but we're looking at how we can make sure that we're keeping this project as quiet as possible for our neighbors. And the same with visual. We're making sure that we're looking at ways that we can minimize the visual impact. One thing we also heard from our community meeting in April was where we showed quite a few visualizations from a daytime perspective, but the thought of what about at night came up, and that is a very real concern. I myself live in a rural community a mile off of a main road, and I too like to look at the stars at night. So one thing that we took back from that meeting that we hope to have ready and should have ready by our next meeting at the end of May are nighttime visual rendering. So we can show the community what this project may look like at night. And as we do that, we continue to work on ways that we can make sure the project's not seen or heard. With any negative or perceived negative impacts, there's also positive impacts for projects. And here are some that we want to touch on and make sure people know about for this project. One of the big ones that's close to my heart are jobs, especially when you look at a power station such as this. Those jobs are well-paying career jobs. My family is third-generation power station employees, and I've seen the impacts that those jobs can have, and also seeing that the number it's a good number, but it's not an overwhelming number of jobs or an overwhelming number of people. Those well-paying career jobs lead into a lot of economic activity, whether it's during construction where we're fueling trucks at the local gas station or we're buying food at the Cumberland restaurant. That carries on over into operations as well, and purchasing materials that are available from local and regional sources whenever we can. So that helps boost the rest of the community. You also see, what I want to highlight is in the bottom corner, the tax revenue. We're estimating right now that over the first 35 years of this project, about $500 million in tax revenue to Cumberland County. And that's a real number. And what you don't see on this slide, but I do want to highlight is, that's not the same amount every year. It kind of starts high and it kind of trickles down as depreciation of machine and tools and equipment go. But the first year we're anticipating about $28 million in tax revenue. First year of operations, about $28 million in tax revenue. So that's something that could change a lot of lives here in the community. And then finally, before we open it up to questions from the board, I want to highlight kind of where we are in the project and what our next steps are to provide a clear path forward. So like I said earlier, we have been working on developing this project. We wanted to make sure that before we came to you all as a board or to the community, we had something to talk about versus just a complete concept. So we worked on that site location, general site layout, that sort of thing, so that we had something to talk about. Since then, we had our first community meeting in April, like I mentioned, and we have submitted our generation interconnection agreement to PJM, which is the regional transmission operator. What that basically says is we're looking to add load onto the grid, and then that regional transmission operator will look at that, assess, and make the ultimate decision of how that happens, how we will interconnect this project if approved to the grid. Our next step is continuing to work with the community and the county and looking to potentially submit a conditional use permit to the county where we'll work with you all to make sure that we're further minimizing those impacts and creating the best project possible for the community. Looking a few months ahead from now, we are in the process of preparing our items to submit an air permit to the Virginia DEQ. That includes air modeling, so we know kind of what the emissions may look like. Of course, all of that information as it's available will be shared in public meetings with the community. But DEQ will ultimately decide, is this project safe for the community and the environment? And then finally, looking from a major permitting standpoint, in the early to mid 2027, submitting our certificate of public convenience and necessity to the Virginia State Corporation, who will decide, is this project needed to support reliable power for the community? And is it the right project for Dominion Energy customers? So that's kind of where we are. Project development, like I said, has started. It's going to continue throughout this process into about the 2029 timeframe where we hope to start construction. All along the way, we will have community meetings. We are open to meeting with people one-on-one, coming back to you all to provide updates. And with that, I will put our information on here to make sure people know how to contact us. And also put in the quick plug that we are having community meetings on May 28th and June 8th, both at the Cartersville Volunteer Fire Department, and we hope to see people there. But if not, people can reach out to us anytime, and as quickly as possible, we'll get back to people. And here to answer any questions that the board may have.
What time are those meetings? 7 or 6?
5:30 to 7.
5, okay.
And they will be advertised in the newspaper as well.
All right, board members. Thank you. Mr. Clinton, any other questions? Mr. Saunders? Any questions?
I do have one question. I've heard from members of the community. Thank you for being here, by the way. It's good to see you again. There's been some questions about water usage. Obviously, there's going to be quite a bit of water needed for the process. And I'm just curious, I've heard several different figures. With a facility of this size, do you know the gallons per day when it's operational, the actual gallons per day that this facility will utilize?
Yeah, ask our subject matter expert, Rafi, to come up and answer that question.
So during operations, it will be around 800,000 gallons on an average day, but it can go up to 2 million gallons on a peak summer day and can go lower, around 400,000 on a regular day. Around half of that will be discharged back to the consumer.
Can we talk about what's not been presented? And that is, I think there's a misnomer out there, this is somehow tied to Valley Link. So do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, so as Alex presented, a lot of it is intermingled together in the grid. It's not that this power station will just go to one transmission line that will go to one distribution line to one home. But at this time, they are two separate projects. That, again, does not mean that if this project is built, Valley Link is built, there will be never be any electrons from this station that go on to Valley Link. But what we propose to PJM is tying into the existing transmission line or into the transmission corridor that goes across the property and tying it that way. So long story short, they're not directly connected.
And just kind of carrying on that thought, it looked like from the timeline that Valley Link will be well underway in some way, shape, or form prior to the completion date of this particular project. So your switch yard really is going to be tied into the existing transmission line that's on the property, correct?
Correct. That is what we proposed with PJM.
Okay. And you kind of covered lighting and noise. One of the things I noticed in the plant design is the diesel storage tanks and the water storage tanks are on the south side of the project. Any particular reason, Rafi?
No particular reason, but that was the best location. And this is preliminary, so as the development continues, the final construction company that comes in may decide to move it a little bit around.
So I guess my question is, will that help with noise?
So the site is laid in an elongated rectangular position.
Okay.
So if we move around, the power island will move along that island. So it will help. Right now it's at the best location that we think will help. If we move it around, then we'll have to do some studies again. I'm not sure how much that will be.
Well, I probably got you there. So one thing I offer to people is base load versus a peaker plant. And kind of the definition of a peaker plant is a little bit more like Bear Garden is that it can start up multiple times, potentially multiple times a day, but typically once a day when needed, when called on. Startup in this plant would be, I mean, it's a base load plant, so it kind of just runs all the time.
Yes, that's the expectation. Expectation is it will turn on and stay on until the next outage happens, and then we'll be in an outage for a couple of weeks and then turn back on.
So the analogy would be a jet airplane, when you send your seat on the jet airplane and it's starting up, it's a little bit louder. And then as the engines warm up, the jet airplane tones down.
Not that much, because when it turns on, you start, out of the two CPs, you start one CP at a time. And as it warms up, then you bring the other CP on, and then, so I don't expect the sound to be that much different by either during startup or shutdown.
Okay. Sorry to dominate
Did
the
your
question here.
question, was it tied more to the start and start down times, or the volume between startup and running continuously?
Okay.
There is a difference between starting up and shutting down versus continual operations, and there is a louder noise when you're starting up and shutting down than when you're just operating.
So there are comparable points in Virginia that we could possibly visit?
So Bear Garden is right down.
Yeah, so we have Bear Garden, which is down the street, which is similar concept as far as the equipment, but it is much smaller. We do also have our Brunswick and Greensville power stations in Brunswick and Greensville. We're very creative with our names, which are larger there, closer to the 1,500 to 2,000 megawatts, or 1.5 to 2 gigs. So they're closer in size to what this project would be.
And we'd be happy to host a tour for members of the board too.
It would be very beneficial, and maybe for some of the county residents to, since Bear Garden is right down the street.
Yep, I will say it's not an open door policy, but we are absolutely, we've already had conversations with the Beer Garden Power Station to make sure that we can fit into their schedule and potentially have some organized public tours for that station as well.
Okay. Rick, any questions? No? Thank you very much.
Yes.
Appreciate it. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, one more item, VDOT secondary 6-year plan. So, Brian, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing for VDOT secondary 6-year plan, and if you will please provide your overview.
All right. We go from exciting power generation to paving unpaved roads. There we go. All right, good evening again. So I'm here tonight to go over the secondary 6-year plan for the 6-year period, fiscal year 2027 to 2032. What I will do is run through the draft plan as it was presented at the work session a couple weeks back. If there are changes to the draft plan at the end of this evening or through the public hearing, I will go back and make revisions and we can revisit the plan at the next meeting. The resolution does not have to be passed tonight, so we still have another month if there are changes to the plan. So with that said, again, I will go over the plan as it was presented. There are 11 roads on the plan. I will run through them. First priority is Route 701, Atkins Road. Second priority is Route 692, Briar Creek. These two roads are actually being constructed as we speak, so they're actually going to come off the plan. Priority 3 is Route 720, which is Randolph Terrace Road. That is from Route 753 to Dead End. Next priority 4, Cottontown Road. Route 678 from Route 638 to Dead End. Priority number 5, Route 688, Arnett Road, from Route 639 to Dead End. Priority number 6, Route 719, Hobson Road, that's from Route 674 to Dead End. Priority number 7, Route 647, Brown Road, that's from Route 601 to Dead End. to Route 654. Priority number 8, Route 672, Sports Lake Road, from 3/4 of a mile north of Route 708 to Route 613. Priority number 9, Route 673, Lincolntown Road, from Route 600 to Route 638. Priority number 10, Route 623, Quarry Road, that's from Route 622 to Route 624. And priority number 11, Route 675, Crowder Road, that's from Route 638 to Dead End. Any questions for me?
All right. Thank you, sir. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Please remember that only residents of Cumberland County or individuals owning real property in Cumberland are permitted to speak during the public hearings and public comment period. One person has signed up, that's Norman Patterson.
Good evening, board members. My name is Norma Patterson. I'm here to address on behalf of residents of 675 Crowder Road. For decades, our road has been overlooked. Route 675 has been on the paving list since 1990. And in 93, it was listed as number 3. And in 2004 and to 2008, it also was still number 3. I don't know how we got lost in the sauce, as they say. So I'm here today to ask that it be moved to priority number 1. This is just not an inconvenience anymore. It's fairness and basic quality of life. It's a 1.7 mile stretch of road with multiple homes and families along the road that continues to have delivery trucks, mail trucks, us in and out. And due to the dust and the damages to our cars, not only to our farm equipment because of the runoff when the rain comes, it's just been a nightmare. And so I'm just asking for fairness, and I ask that it be moved to priority number 1 and that it be paid in the upcoming fiscal year. Please. Thank you.
Thank you. If there are no citizens signed up to speak, we will now close the public hearing. We will now open the floor for board member discussion. And Mr. Stinson, this is District 4.
2 of my highest priorities, and she is exactly right, because that had been on there for a long time and somehow got removed. Not sure when it was taken off the list. And we have another one that's been on there for quite a while, and it's Lincolntown Road. The big difference between the two areas, both of those would be my top priorities. The only difference that I would say is Lincolntown's a thoroughfare. Okay. With that said, it's constant traffic, but they're both in need of repair. So I know we just added this one back in July with the resolution, but we do need to really look hard at that one. And again, Lincolntown again, there's a lot of traffic and has a lot of the same issues. Again, the difference being Lincolntown is a thoroughfare, so it would get you much more traffic. But at the same time, this one, and she has been very good over the last 10 months sending us photos and pictures of VDOT, and I know VDOT's talked to her as well, so she's very passionate. So again, those would be my two high priorities.
Okay.
Go ahead. I would recommend that we do not pass the resolution tonight, and we will go back and revisit the order of the roads that needs to be prepared, and then we will submit a new order to Mr. Long.
Okay, defer to the next board meeting?
Yes.
I just want to clarify, the resolution is not up for tonight, that is going to be at a later meeting, you just.
Okay, your list is stated.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me retract that.
So it's a motion to approve, so we'll just defer to the next meeting?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hammond, I'm fine with that. Okay. Go ahead.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree?
Aye.
Mr. Stinson?
Aye.
Mr. Saunders?
Aye. Okay. Kim Beasley, we skipped over you somehow. Do you have any report?
Mr. Chairman, I did have to report this month. I have had conversations with both council from Greenridge and GFL. They've indicated to me the host agreement is signed, and also their intentions to update the board at the next meeting, which will be the June meeting.
Thanks, sir. All right. Additional information is your packet from pages 76 through 87. If there are no questions on that, we'll move on to the final item, which is public comment period. Only individuals who have signed up for the public comment period will be allowed to speak when called upon by the chairman. Members of the board, supervisors, and county officials will not respond directly to questions asked during the public comment period. Instead, answers will be directed through the county administrator at a later date. We provide contact information on the sign-up sheet for all proper responses by the county administrator. Thank you. And first is April. Welcome.
Hello. Just an update on the department. We had our Mother's Day vendor event, and we did not realize that it was the same day as prom. So next year we plan to, Ms. Short is going to give us a copy of the schedule, so we don't plan anything for Sundays. We also had a Mother's Day brunch. We had 12 mothers come. That was pretty nice. Wish we'd have had some more, but there were a lot of activities that day around the county. Our next event is a fish fry, June 27th from 4 to 6 at the firehouse. And then again, we are having a carnival, July 25th. I really hope to see all of you there. Brian is going to be in our dunk tank, as well as our chief, deputies. Any of you that want to step up and get in the dunk tank, you're welcome. Or if you want to run a game, whatever, just let me know. We are trying really hard to raise funds because our trucks keep having issues. And repairs are very costly on those things. So, we also are having more trainings. I know we're going to have a few more people get CPR certified coming up. And come by, see us. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morris. Next is Betty Myers.
My name is Betty Myers. I live at 277 Deep Run Road, District 1. I'm going to make some comments about the comprehensive plan because I've read the comprehensive plan pretty extensively, and in that plan we address staying rural, keeping our county where we love to have it, where we can go out at night, not be bothered by a lot of lights, be able to see the stars and the moon, and listen to the birds and everything else. And you constantly are bringing in things that's going to disturb that for us, and disturb it in big ways. The other thing is, things like power plants and landfills is not addressed in the comprehensive plan that was approved in December of 2023. So I don't see how you can be considering things that you're not addressing in the comprehensive plan. And yet whenever you are approving things, they've said that they're complying with the comprehensive plan, but I don't see anything being done about your building up those areas that you've selected as community centers, such as here in Cumberland, such as in Cartersville. So when are you going to start to really abide by your comprehensive plan that was approved in December of 2023? Or change it? You can do that. Thank you.
Next up is Mike Parker. Mike may have left. Right. And Thomas Schwartz. It's on there, Thomas.
Tom Schwartz with the Board of Carey. Just going to give you an update about the nurse practitioner office. We're going pretty good. We got our inside permit on Monday. The plumber's already got his permit, HVAC and electric are working on theirs. We'll be done with the frame out tomorrow or Thursday. Parking lot, we just need to stripe it now. So it's going pretty good. We're gonna be open here in a couple weeks. Other than that, the nurse practitioner's not only working her normal job, but she just got back from Georgia getting her point of care ultrasound training, so she can do ultrasounds now. She continues her training, and she wants me to do the website. However, my son refers to the piece of wood that I always carry around as my iPad, so I'm not quite sure how that's gonna work out. But we'll figure it out. We'll be here open a couple weeks. And I've already talked to a couple of the EMTs over there at the rescue squad about, frequent flyers. Probably try to pitch in there and try to maybe get them some needed care so they don't have to rely on the rescue squad so much, try to relieve some burden off of them. Other than that, everything seems to be going okay for the moment.
Good deal. Thanks, Thomas. Good update. Next, Travis Harris.
Pass.
He said,
I'll pass.
Okay, you're gonna pass. And Gina Martin.
This is on the animal shelter report. Calls for service was 33, strays are 4, surrendered were 6. There were transferred out 13, returned to owners 4. Year-to-date, 142 have been transferred out. Surrendered have been 11. They were able to do the pad that we suggested to move the kennels, and it's a nice shady area. I love the tree filling out today, so we may not have to do that sun canopy anytime soon. They did put what they call rock dust on it, and we've asked them to put just a little bit more down before we move the kennels over. It's not quite thick enough. And then we'll move the kennels over, see if we need some extra panels. Donations have been paid for the rock dust. If anybody wants to contribute to them, we would love more money to pay for that renovation we've done. And we're probably going to try and hold some fundraisers soon and try and give them some more money. They are full to capacity. They're actually turning away animals. There's a beautiful big boy, 120-something pound pit bull, something. He's a big hefty boy that somebody needs to go see. He is a dog. He is as sweet as can be, and plenty of animals. Thank you.
Thank you. Ryan Cavanier left early. Next up, Charles Conley. For full disclosure, Mr. Conley's from Powhatan.
We want to hold that against me?
No, won't hold it against you. He's here with he asked for permission, and it's about doing business in Cumberland County, but in a nonprofit way. So, but I'm not going to steal any more thunder from you.
If you have any questions, he's really good at this. Leadership, good evening, good evening. I am Charles Connolly. I'm the president and CEO of Fury Soccer over in Powhatan. And I came to talk to you about an opportunity to bring real value back to Cumberland in its county and its youth. The value is club soccer through my organization. For the past 35 years, I've coached, trained, or managed soccer programs all over the world. I kicked the ball on many continents in many different ways, sometimes being shut down. It's interesting, but it's a great story. It's a whole meal. So. For many families, access to quality youth sports is more than just extracurricular activity. It's a pathway to healthier lifestyles, stronger communities, and meaningful opportunities for young people. Club soccer in Cumberland means families didn't have to travel long distances or leave the county to find competitive, development-focused programs. Bringing it back restores the access and keeps those benefits local. What is worse than going without is due to the time constraint is getting those practice and games on time. From the grass fields down the street to the grass fields within Powhatan, just 23 minutes away,
game days could now be here or very close to home. Fury FC is a community-driven, not-for-profit organization that is fast approaching the 45th year anniversary. Our mission is simple: build character, confidence, and connection through the game of soccer. We focus on sportsmanship, personal growth, and creating a positive environment where kids can thrive on and off the field. We're not just developing athletes, we're developing confident youth and potentially future leaders. And we are not bound by artificial boundaries like county lines. We currently support players from Powhatan, Amelia, Goochland, Chesterfield, as far away as Lunenburg, and yes, Powhatan's currently here in Cumberland. Reintroducing club soccer to Cumberland County would provide local youth high-quality coaching and structured development, reduce travel time burdens and cost to families wanting to play and not having to go elsewhere, strengthening community engagement through tournaments, events, and volunteer opportunities. It would also give Cumberland students a competitive edge as they move into middle, high school, and beyond. I plan to be at the high school game tomorrow night. That's going to be fun. FC Fury is ready to partner with the county to make this happen. We bring experienced coaches to assist the process and provide local coach training programs, establish programming, and a proven track record of strong, inclusive soccer for communities. What we need is the opportunity to bring those resources back to Cumberland so your young people, families, and community can directly benefit. Fury FC is more than just soccer. We're about investing in youth, supporting families, and giving Cumberland County a program that reflects the pride and potential of this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Conner. And last up is Kevin Hardy.
Good evening, my name is Kevin Hardy. I live at 53 Anderson Highway. And I realize this courthouse project is just getting started, and I appreciate your extensive studies. I've done some research myself, not overly extensive, but here's what I found. Key findings regarding Virginia courthouse construction costs include significant overruns. Projects often face budget increases, such as one project that exceeded its original budget by roughly $31.5 million, requiring additional funds for fiscal year 2027. Funding challenges. Localities often fund these projects, which can impact property taxes. The 2009 report found that state authorized fees only cover a small portion of construction costs, leaving the rest to us. Rising costs. Recently proposed projects, 2026, have reported initial estimates that increased by over 2% shortly after being introduced. Active projects. As of 2026, some jurisdictions are still navigating high costs for new courthouse, such as $70 million project in New Kent, $80 million project in Petersburg. Overall, with many projects facing, as described, $723.4 million shortfall, a low percentage in projects in recent years have likely finished under budget or without major preemptive scope reductions. I just hope that we keep that in mind as we move forward in this process, because we're on the hook for whatever you guys vote for. Thank you.
That concludes the public comment period.
John, can I add one thing? There's a yard sale at Grace Church this weekend. There's going to be lots of things for the animal shelter for donation and for sale. If people would please try, I'm going to put that on what's happening in Cumberland also.
Shameless plug for the animal shelter. That's a good thing. Okay, and that's it for this evening. Do we have a motion to adjourn? Or, I'm sorry, we have the comment periods first. Sorry? Done?
So I thank everybody for being here tonight and taking part in your meeting.
Yes, we do appreciate everyone coming. We very much appreciate Dominion and your presentation of your proposal. And Valco Investments, I know it's been a lot of heartburn for people, no other way of putting it, but I'm glad that the company has has seen things differently, and maybe this time a proposal will come across the desk that'll work. So I don't have anything against Dollar General, it was just the wrong location. So with that being said, thanks everyone for coming, and appreciate you being friends and neighbors. We like everyone coming and attending these meetings, so thank you very much. Good night.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Hamlin?
Aye.
Mr. Newman?
Aye.
Ms. Tyree? Mr. Simpson?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?